But if you go to the Day and Night YouTube page, the link is right at the bottom of the Day and Night logo, and just click on that. So if you can't watch us, if you're traveling, if you're at home doing work, if you at school, whatever the case is, and you're able to watch us, you can listen to us now. So again, we're on Spotify as well. So I'm gonna kick it to Mark, and we're gonna get this thing started.
Okay, well, hello everybody, good evening. Hope everybody enjoying that Labor Day today. It's a good day, it's a beautiful day, great weekend with a special person, so it's good times, good, making memories. So, like Matt always say, as I say, like, subscribe, share, and that's pretty cool with the Spotify. So yeah, that's a good way. Like Matt said, if you're driving or something and you can't look at it on YouTube, you could always listen. So I think that's a pretty cool deal. So today's topic, like Matt stated, is what is the difference between friends and what we also say associates. So this is one that I kind of wanted to talk about because I just find it interesting that some people, not everybody, choose to call people friends, and what is not by definition, but to each and everybody is different what they view, what they consider a friend. So again, I just like to pick people's brains. I just want to see what your opinion is, Matt, and all you out there that's listening and watching. What do you deem the difference between a friendship and associate? Is there a difference? So I'm gonna just kick it off, and I'm gonna start off by giving you my point of view, what I think a friendship is versus an associate. And please, guys, feedback is important. I got a friend of mine that responded last week, and I'm gonna call you out to respond here on the Day and Night podcast. I love that you responded feedback, but you did it on Instant Messenger. So do it, subscribe to Day and Night so that way we can get and read it, and then we can respond to your comments. So that was a good comment that she made last week. But anyway, so friends and associates. So I'm gonna just start off by saying what I believe a friendship is. Now, everybody's gonna agree or disagree. So again, I'm not saying this is by law, or this is the way it should be. This is just me, my point of view. A friend basically is someone to me that has to be developed in time. Now, what I mean by that is I just can't meet somebody 2 days and love the conversation, we hit it off, and say, oh, that's my friend. To me, a friend is someone that's there for you, that's mentally, physically, emotionally supports you, holds you accountable is my key to a friend. It's somebody that's gonna let you know when you're wrong, not always when you're right. To me, that's more of a yes man, yes sir type person that's always on your side. If you agree with them, that's one thing, but you gotta hold that person accountable. To me, that's a real friend that's gonna let you know when you're wrong and when you're right. There for you no matter what, don't judge you, allow you to be yourself, let you, speak your mind. Again, you're gonna always give that input on if you feel you don't agree. But to me, that's what a friend is. And again, that to me is built in time, meaning it could be 6 months to a year. I was telling a friend of mine that you gotta have receipts, kind of terminology I use when I say receipts, meaning somebody that's been through some things with you, thick and thin, and you like, damn, you still got my back. When times is hard, to me, that's when you really find out the truth about anybody. If they real with you or if they not, because when everything is good, everything is good. But when you have rough times, who's gonna be there for you? Who's gonna support you? Who's not gonna just rub you and put your face in it and make you feel bad when you're already down? They try to rise you up when you're down. So I mean, to me, that's what a friend is. Somebody that's got your back, again, hold you accountable, and just allow you to be who you are. Now, associate, to me, associate is somebody that you interact with. It could be at work. It could be somebody you just see every now and then if you go to a gym or anything that's an establishment where you not always see them, but you see them occasionally. So that's somebody you associate with on that level, but it's not somebody you're going to be spending time with, quality time, really getting to know them. And, they just associate with you. So I feel like that's the difference. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, what is the difference? Because I believe some people think that associate is their friend and a friend is an associate. So I think perfect example. I'm gonna give you a couple, and then I'm gonna kick it to you, Matt. Now at work, this guy, I met him. I've been with my company for a year now, and he's a cool guy. Like I said, we have good conversation while we at work to kill time, let time go by. So to me, personally, I felt like he's an associate because we associate with each other, but it's only on a business, on the work level. We don't call each other outside of work. We don't go out and spend time. So to me, that's an associate. But him, on his side, he deemed me as a friend, which, you know, I respect that. I ain't knocking him if that's how he see it in his eyes. But to me, I'm like, we didn't do anything to get on that level because we was talking one day and he asked me, so how many friends do you have here at work? And I was just being straight honest. I said, I don't have no friends at work. I had people I associate with. And he looked like, oh, damn, so I'm not your friend? And I said, well, you cool, man. But I mean, to me, a friend is somebody we got to spend time outside of work. We never done that. So, I mean, you're a cool person at work, but I can't deem you as a friend just because we have great conversation at work and we never interacted anywhere outside of work. So to me, I associate with you being that we're in a business place, but we don't act as friends, being that we never done anything or experienced anything. So, I mean, he did get a little butthurt, but then after I broke it down, he kind of like, oh, I see you as a friend. So I'm like, well, I appreciate you, you know, but I still stand firm on what I believe is a friend and associate. So he didn't get disgruntled or stop talking to me. He just, you know, didn't agree with it. So that's why I wanted to come up with this, you know, this podcast. And how many of y'all out there that is the same way, where some people you see as a friend and some people you see as associate? Now, I'm going to give you another example on the other side. Now, this one guy that I worked with, we was cool. We actually hung out outside of work, and I deemed him as a friend. Now, this is why I took that card away from him, because it was one day at work, we go outside of work because we had like a 45-minute lunch. And he's like, yo, man, can I ride with you to go to Subway? I'm like, of course, come on. So we get to Subway, and I'm in the line. It's a long line because where I work at, it's a lot of people that go in at the same time. They have the same lunchtime. So he orders before me. He orders the food and then takes off. I didn't know where he went. I figured he just went to sit down or whatever, but I'm giving my order. I come to turn around, I go and look, I'm like, where's Arthur at? I look outside, I'm like, I can't find him nowhere. So I'm thinking maybe this dude went to the bathroom. Nope, he's not in the bathroom. So this one guy's like, yo, man, you waiting for that dude? I was like, yeah, that guy took off and left those two girls. And I was like, are you serious? He said, yeah, man, he just straight up ditched you. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I can't believe he did that. He didn't even tell me nothing. And the dude just laughing and said, well, that's some friend. So when I get back to work, I was like, yo, Arthur, what happened? He's like, oh, I thought you knew that I was going to go back to work with the girls. I said, first of all, I didn't even know they was here. And second of all, you roll with me. So you could at least acknowledge me. I said, I get you want to get back to work because we have 45 minutes. So you ain't want to use the whole lunch waiting. But at least let me know that you, hey, Mark, yo, I'm about to leave with these girls. I see you back at work. I appreciate you, bring me up there. He ain't do none of that. So to me, I'm looking at him like, well, you're supposed to be my friend. You just going to ditch me like that without even communicating? So I'm like, that's messed up. He's like, oh, man, don't take it so serious, man. You know, you shouldn't even be mad like that. You should understand. I said, if you'd have said something, I would have got it. But because you didn't acknowledge me, I thought that was messed up. So the point I'm making with all of that is that's somebody I thought was a friend, because we did affiliate outside of work. And I developed some kind of rapport with him outside of work. So I figured that was my friend. And here he is, first time when something not serious comes up, but it just showed me a lot of his character, that if I need him, is he really gonna have my back? Because you can't even acknowledge me and let me know you can't wait for me to get out of line when I drove you up here. So that's why I always say, who is really your friend? And I think we gotta be careful when we want to run around and say, oh, that's my friend. Sometimes you should put them as what they are, as an associate. And the ones that your friends, of course, those are your friends. But I just believe that we sometimes don't really think about who's our real friends and who's just our associates. So I'm gonna kick it to you, Matt.
All right.
What you think about that, Matt?
Yeah, you said a lot in that.
I always do. Yeah.
So I'm going to do my best to take my time without taking too much time.
Right.
So for this topic, like most other topics, everything is relative. Like to me, certain things that we talk about on here is very few and far that most of the topics is not going to be relative. So I actually did a little bit of research on it. And it's funny because exactly how you explained it is the definition or explanation as far as what they gave for friendship and associate. So I'm going to read a little bit of it, but I don't want to reiterate basically what you just said. So for me, because I'm sure somebody may be out there like, okay, we're all adults. We should know what a friend is. So like, why are we talking about friendship and associate? So for me, it's more so focused on young children or even some young adults or older adults. And just like what you talked about, this situation with the guy at your job, is some people are not emotionally stable and they really rely on other people, you know, for their self-esteem, for stability, and just to get through the day. You know, so some people are so extroverted or they just need the opinion of others or need the company of others that sometimes they kind of overlook red flags, so to speak, as far as when they befriended somebody and that person really has no intention of actually being a true friend. They just looking at, okay, how can I take advantage of this person and what can I do or what can they do for me? So I think this is why this is important, because it kind of breaks down if someone doesn't know that there is a difference. And I had a conversation with somebody and they did not get the difference between a friend and associate. They're like, that makes no sense. I've never heard that before. There is no such thing. All right, so I'm just going to read the friend and associate. So it says a friend is people with whom you have a close personal connection. You share personal thoughts, emotions, and experience with friends. You build a friendship on trust, mutual respect, and a sense of camaraderie. And it's basically, like you said, long-term, enduring, lasting for years. That's basically what friendship is. And then associates is just like you said, are individuals with whom you have a more professional or casual connection. While you may have a working relationship or common interests, the personal connection is usually based on just being at work. And it's more or less short-term, revolving around a specific context or shared interest. So that's exactly how I see associate. But for me, associate is, just like I said, somebody that you may work with or somebody you talk on occasion, like once every 6-7 months or something like that. And it's just, you know, cordial conversation. It's nothing that I'm, you know, giving my, spilling my guts out to, and they know everything about me. But I've always said, for me, a friend is the closest thing to a relative. It's like an extension of a relative. So like Junifer, how she was always at our house, and Kevin, to me, that's true friends. Like Don, even though we don't really stay in contact with them, he's still keeping contact with us through Facebook or what have you. When we had events, like you said, the funeral and then my retirement, you know, he showed up. So that's like a lifelong friend. So like I was talking about earlier, more so focused on those young children or young adults that don't have that ability to stand on their own and they need somebody else for comfort and stability. I think it's important to find out and know the difference between what a friend is and what an associate. So I'm gonna, you know, kick it back to you, see what you got out, what else you have to say. And then for me, what really burns me is when it comes to relationships. That's the other part that gets me the most when it's, if we want to talk about the difference between friends and associates.
Okay. Now, just you made an interesting point where you said it's mainly more young folks because adults should have a clear understanding. I agree with that, but then I also say at the same time, it is a lot of adults that, even though they should, they don't realize that. And I think part of it is nobody, like you said, it's relative. Nobody really sits there, really dissect it and think, is this person my real friend or not? But I think it should be something that we all need to sit back and ask ourselves, because sometimes and you made a point earlier when you said certain people intent aren't to be your friend. They don't dare to use you to their benefits, and they may come across as a friend. So I think that's why it's important, because again, my guy Arthur, he come across like he was a friend. Like I said, we hung out a couple of times, and then at work, you know, he did that one little thing, which to me, he told me I overreacted, and man, he tells me, you ain't a friend if you gonna get mad. So that's what's funny, how if you bring that to somebody's attention, sometimes the other person makes you seem like you're not being a friend by calling them out. That's why I stated early in the top of the show, is a friend also is calling people on what they do wrong. It's not just being there, and that's part of being emotionally, but you gotta hold people accountable. And to me, that's an important asset of being a friend, because if you're somebody that let somebody do things that's detrimental or toxic, and you really don't say nothing because you feel like, oh, I can't say that because I'm her friend or his friend, I might piss him off. To me, that's not being a true friend. Because a true friend would be, look, and be honest, like, look, what you doing is not right. Let's say your buddy is messing around on his girlfriend. You be like, look, man, that's not cool. You shouldn't be doing that. That's just disrespectful. Man, who are you to be talking to me? That's you, my boy. You shouldn't even be doing that. We supposed to be friends. How many times we all heard that, where you call somebody on something and they say, oh, we supposed to be friends? Like, you can't let the other person know when you're wrong. So I feel like that's an important part, because I think that's where I personally keep my friends separate, and I have very few, because it's very few that's going to look for your best interest. They need to be cool with you, to talk with you, hang out with you, laugh with you. But when times are rough, or even when they calling you on something you know you doing wrong, but they want to be the yes sir, or you're a cheerleader, whatever word you want to use, to me, that's not being a true friend. Because a true friend is going to let you know the things you don't want to know, or you don't want to hear. So I think that's important. And again, we all should sit back and ask ourselves that, who really are our true friends? Because to me, the darkest moment is where the light's going to shine on the certain ones. I just went through some personal things myself, and I learned a lot who my friends are just on that aspect. So that's what teaches me, you know, who's really going to be there. We're adults, like you said. That's why I'm glad you made that point. You wouldn't think adults would do that to each other, but it happens. I mean, more or less when you teenagers, I get it. I agree with that. Mom, used to tell us when we was kids all the time, you don't know who your real friends are until they do something. Jay used to always say that. Be careful who you choose as your friends, because they may not be your friend. I remember him always telling me that when we was down here in San Antonio. You went in the military, but after that, when I had certain people I'll be with, he will always tell me that. Like, look, big bro, you need to be careful who you think is your friends, because they're not looking out for your best interest. So I think that's important. You made a good point on that. And that's why I want guys, for y'all to give feedback on that. Because I think this is a good topic, being that some of us may not look at that as, damn, that's a good point. Who are our friends, and who are we should keep at a distance as somebody we just socialize with, but not be as a friend. Now, to speak on the relationship thing, that's good. I'm glad that was brought up. Because when I was back in the dating game and looking at the profiles, I always think it's interesting how women, because I date women, would say, I'm looking for a friend first, and also as my lover. So if you already have friends, male friends, and you become exclusive with the one you're talking to, do you still keep them other guys as friends, or vice versa, male, female? Because if you want your true friend to be your best friend, then you really don't need the other one. You can associate with them, but you should not, in my opinion, be interacting with them like you were before you was in a relationship. And that's a good question, because I had somebody that I dated, and we no longer friends. And she felt like I disrespected her, because when I got a girlfriend, I stopped talking to her. And I will own up to it and say that I didn't communicate as much as I did once I got with her. So her thing was, A real friend wouldn't do that. You'll still be my friend, even if you have a girlfriend. And I told her that's where you treading on thin ice, because the challenge with that is not everybody, not sitting here saying everybody like that, but most people that's in a relationship, if you got a girlfriend and you be like, this is my friend I always interact with, more or less, at some point, she's gonna be like, well, you don't need to interact with her as much. That's what I'm here for. You can talk to her, but not on a regular basis like you did before, because now I feel like it's more than a friendship. So my friend told me that I excluded her because I got a girlfriend, and she really straight up put me on, you need to choose, not choose like break up with my girlfriend, but she's like, if you don't put me in your life more, then we're gonna stop being friends. So I felt like that wasn't being a real friend, because why would you put that on me knowing that I have a girlfriend, I gotta be respectful. So long story short, we're no longer friends because of that, because I told her I can't just disconnect with her, and I understand where she was coming from. I was being respectful for her. So she got upset and said, but I can't be your friend no more because you never call me, you never do anything like you did before. So I think that's a slippery slope. I think that if you have a significant other, you can still be friends with that person that you was with, but maybe not as much. And I think the other part that plays the dynamic in that is how long you've been friends. So if you've been a lifelong friend, and I'm sorry, whoever you dating, and you made that point, that's like a family person, member. So I've been knowing somebody for 10 years, and you meet somebody and start dating them, that person you're dating should have the understanding that, wow, that's somebody that's been in your life for a while. That's more like a family, so I shouldn't get upset if you still communicate with her. But again, it all depends on how. If you do it every day, then it's like, well, what am I here for? I should be your friend and your lover. So that's what I think. That's a interesting dynamic. I think it depends on the individuals. Some people is understanding. I've dated some that don't care. They just don't understand why you have a lot of female friends if you have a significant other. I'm trying not to say too much. So I'm gonna say less and let's go back to you, because I can keep going and going. So.
Yeah, so I'm gonna touch on the relationship part, and a little bit with the just like casual friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I said, my pet peeve is the relationship part, when if you're talking to somebody, you're dating, whatever, and they was either dating somebody and they stopped dating, which is possible. I know you can become friends, if you're dating somebody and you decide it's not going to work as a relationship. But my thing is, if you just talk to this person and you went out on a couple of dates, and this person may call you every now and again, once in a blue moon, and if we're in conversation and you refer to that person as a friend, and again, it goes back to, and I know everybody got their own personal beliefs of what a friend is, but I think in a general sense of what friendship is, it's like, it was stated when I was reading. It's something or somebody that you can gravitate to, the support, emotional support, is intimacy. So if you're just talking to this person every 6-7 months and they really know nothing about you, they haven't been, like you said, in the downs and the lows and highs in your life, but you referring to this person as a friend, that's an issue for me. That's like a red flag. And then another thing is too, if this person is sending text messages and flirting with you and, sending under the cover flirtatious text and stuff like that, that's not a friend. In my opinion, a real friend is not going to do that. They're going to respect your boundaries and say, you know what, we're not going there. We don't look at each other like that. I know you don't look at me like that, so I'm going to respect you and not even touch it, even in a joking way.
Right.
And if it's confronted to you, or if I confront you and you be like, well, I don't mean anything, that person's just a friend, that's an issue. It's something definitely wrong with that in my eyes. Okay. Now, this is another thing I wanted to get your opinion on, and I'm curious as far as what you think about it. So, I think I talked to you about this before. Sometimes I believe, not sometimes, I believe people come in our lives to help us. Whether it's in a relationship, meaning if you're dating a person, Rather if it's somebody you befriend and it's that type of relationship, I believe there are people that comes in our life that help us to get through a certain time period in our life, and then that's it, and they move on. And sometimes if that person is helping us out, that doesn't mean necessarily that's your friend. It's just somebody that's being used the way they're supposed to be used. You follow what I'm saying? So I think sometimes that can kind of blind people to an extent, because like, oh man, this person helped me out. This person gave me money when I was down. This person, whatever the case is, and then they gravitate to that person. And actuality, it may not be as meant to be any type of relationship other than, okay, I'm helping you out, you're in a hard times, and then I'm going to move on. So I think sometimes, like I said, it blinds people to the point to where they think that that person is a friend, and then they stay attached to them, and that's not really what their purpose in their life was for. So I think a lot of times that's what happens. There's somebody they can talk to, you know, they listen to them, you know, they give them good advice and stuff like that. And then they say, okay, this is somebody I can talk to and I can relate to. So this person is my friend. Then they automatically label them their friend. And once they serve their purpose, and then the true colors comes out, and then you like, damn, why this person do me like that? I thought they was my friend. I can't believe they did me that way. And that's only because that relationship was only temporary, but the person overstayed and overlooked what it was, and then they wind up getting burned. That's just my opinion. That's what I see, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Like if you have a relationship with somebody, friend-wise, for X amount of years, and for some reason there's a fallout, and then they stop talking to each other for X amount of time. Like, how do you stop talking to somebody that you claim is your friend instantly? Right. I mean, it could be something that just come up, and I was like, I don't like you no more. That's not my friend. I'm like, how the hell you just dismiss somebody that quick over something petty? That's not a true friend. And that's what I believe it is. That person probably was in their life at a down time, and they was there to help them out, but that was it. And then later on down the line, they do something and they pissed off, and this person is a dog, this person is this and that. And it's like, it's not them. Well, it's kind of both parties, but you know, you overstayed the time period that it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So I'm just curious.
I'm with you. I know you lost me there for a second. I ain't gonna lie, but I mean, I get what you. I see where you went with it. As far as sometimes people in your life, they may not. The intention is to be there for not. I shouldn't say eternity, but for a long period of time. So I have had people have done that where I helped them out, vice versa, but we no longer deal with each other. So that's when I used to ask myself, what was the point? Why do we call each other friends if we're not even friends no more? And it's been 10 years. So I think, times, what happens with each other at that moment may kind of dictate the reason why y'all separated. But again, perfect point. I can't disagree with that. Is if you true friends, you're going to be friends forever. There's no reason for you to lose or disconnect, even if you don't like certain qualities about the person, because again, that's what I'm saying a friend is you accept the good and the bad, and you overlook that and knowing there's good things about that person. So I think, at some point, certain people aren't meant to be in your lives as a friend even for the rest of your life. I think they're there to serve a purpose. I hate to sound like I'm echoing what you say, but I'm just saying I get what you're saying. So I'm not going to go ahead and repeat the same thing you just said, but I can relate to that. I'm going to put it that way. I can relate to that. I see what your point is on that. But to me, again, friends come and go. That's another saying. That's an old saying. I believe that kind of correlates to what you just said.
Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly it.
Not everybody's meant to be there for a long time. But I think the ones that are meant to be there, we all can probably figure that out and realize, you keep them as a friend. And then I was going to ask you that when you were speaking on that, you speaking on both male and female, or you just meaning in a opposite sex friendship? In other words, like if a dude, how many times it's going to sound weird saying it, if a dude come in your life and you befriend him, is it just for women when you say that? A woman and a man, opposite sex, or can it be the same sex as well? Like AJ, like he's from Philly. We call ourselves the Philly Connection. We was doing our stretch session together. And we went did mud runs together and all of that. Now we don't really interact no more. Mm-hmm. So that could be the same for males too. That you can meet somebody and even though y'all clicked at one point in time, whatever purpose we serve, which we both was into fitness, and we kind of communicate via text on Facebook. We acknowledge each other, give each other props of whatever we doing, because he does Zumba and all that. So I always give him his props and speak for him, speak on him and saying how great he is, he's doing, and I'm congratulating him. He do the same with me. So I guess we still friends, but it's in a more of a associate kind of way. So I guess you could still be friends, but at more of an associate aspect, because we don't spend time or hang out like we did before when I used to work at the gym. Is where I met him. I was one day training. He walked up and saw me have my Philly shirt on, and we start talking. We come to find out we both from Philly, and then it just took it from there. So, and that was by accident. So sometimes, people can accidentally walk into your life, but it doesn't mean they're meant to be there for the whole duration of your life. So right. I can understand that, but I just want to put the point out, being that it could be the same sex too. It don't just have to be male and female just as friends. It could be the same sex where you meet somebody and you think y'all cool, and then y'all serve y'all purpose and y'all move on. So I feel like 1-2 good friends you may have in your life. Some may be more. I mean, I know some people have groups of friends and all that, but me, I had maybe 2. Other than you, I consider you my best friend, you my brother, but still, I look at you on a friendship level. And I have 2 other people down here, and I've been in San Antonio for 30 years, 32 years. But I can honestly say I had 2 people down here that I can truly, if I called him today and like, hey, I need you, I know he'd get my back and vice versa. So I would say that. That's why I was telling Felicia the other day, I have more associates than I do friends, and people at work be feeling like, why you don't want to friend nobody, be friends? I said, I'm cool with everybody, but that doesn't mean I got to be your friend, because then we got into a deep discussion at work about what we're talking about now. And a lot of people don't agree with that. They think a friend is somebody you have fun with and you have great conversation. And then, well, that's my friend. I'm like, you don't even know him. You just met him 2 days ago. So how's that your friend? But some people mentality is, as long as you click with them and you interact and y'all have a great time, they deem that as a friend. To each his own, but that's why we're doing this podcast, to kind of break it down, open people's minds to realize, when you sit and think about it, how many friends do we really have? Everybody has their reason in the way they want to deem friends and associates. So I'm not knocking nobody, but I just feel like, be careful when we out here putting friendship on everybody that don't even deserve it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that was exactly what I was talking about. I was not just referring to men and women.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Now, this is the other piece. You kind of mentioned it a little bit. So when it comes to family, now, like, do you see family as family, or do you see it as, okay, I can have a friendship with my brother, sister, with my children, or so forth? Because for me, I think that there is a difference. Family just meaning by you're connected by blood, biologically, but you still have to develop a relationship. I think most people think that because you are family, it comes automatic that you're a friend. Of course, when you're growing up, you do things together and stuff like that. So to me, it could be more like attachment opposed to like true friendship. Because as children is different as you become an adult, because you have different likes and stuff like that. Your personality changes. So like with me, I got 5. And like TT and Keisha, they kind of hang together. TT and Matthew used to hang together, and Kiara and Kiana, they don't hang together because they're like totally different. So they're related, but I wouldn't say that they're friends. So for you, do you think, does that apply too when it comes to siblings, not just brother and sister, but nephews, nieces, cousins, and like I said, even your children.
Yeah, I mean that's damn. Yeah, that's a good one. And I agree a little bit. Well, actually, the whole thing, yeah, because like I just mentioned a second ago, you may think different when I say you my friend or best friend, whatever. You might be like, man, you cool, but even though we twins, a lot of people assume that should be your best friend. So
Right.
and you're right, just because of the entitlement or attachment, because we twins, people automatically going to assume that. But it could easily, you could say not really because you did military for 22 years, and then I've been down here, so. I don't say it just because we are twins. I say it because for me, I'm speaking for myself. You, the person I confide in, Felicia, knows that anybody after dating always know that I'll go to you first before anybody else. And I always felt like if I needed you, I feel like you would be there. So to me, that's more, again, people gonna say, well, that's being a brother. I'm like, I get it, but it still is a friendship because we can hold each other accountable for things. You always hold me accountable. So I don't feel like we can put a pass on that because we twin brothers. But to answer your question on the other aspect, as far as like with siblings, I mean with the mother, with the kids, the children, yeah. I think that's a good point because sometimes a lot of kids feel like their parents need to be their friend to be able to get along and be cared about. But no, you don't have to be a friend because you're missing that authority figure of that parent if you just deem to be their friend because they're not going to respect you. And I'm going to tell you about this. I'm glad you brought this up. So the guy I was talking about at work, real cool cat. He's 20, 21, young. And we talk and we just chop it up and talk about everything under the sun. And this is what he said. And I was flattered by it, but I had to let him know. And he's like, man, you cool as shit, man. And damn, I wish you was my dad, man. My dad ain't nothing like that. He don't talk to me. He don't act like a friend, and I just can't, communicate. And I'm all like, for real, I appreciate that, but I have to stop and think. I'm like, well, damn, I got a son too. So how would I feel if Marcus tells some other dude the same thing? So I told him, I was like, look, E, I appreciate what you say, but the reason why you think I'm so cool is because I'm not your dad. Your dad probably more strict because he cares about you. Doesn't mean he don't care about you, and you're taking it as he don't want a relationship with you. Because he's not talking about all the things we talk about. He said, well, why can't he? He's my dad, doesn't mean he can't be cool and be my friend. I said, I get what you're saying, but it's a real thin line. Because I said, if I go to my son and tell him, oh, this dude E is cool, he's like a son to me, that would make him feel some type of way just because he's doing the things I do with Marcus. And I told her, I said, I think that's any parent is going to always have that situation where their kid feel like they can't come to them. Some do. And some don't. It's always one or the other, And he so happened to don't have a relationship with his dad. So I'm the same age as his dad, so we talk about everything, and I don't judge him on it. He feels like I would be a cool dad. I said, that's not always what a dad is about. Just being cool and talking about everything that you like and just agree with it. He's going to give you that stern, hardcore love that you need. So I said, you got to respect your dad. Don't feel like he's not your friend because he's being more of a father figure to you or authority figure. He's like, well, he could at least sometimes be cool. And I have to sit back and understand that. At some time, you can have a friendship with your kid. I think that is important. Because I seen Marcus today, my son, and we sat down and I'm putting it out there, being transparent. Growing up, when he was little, he was always wanting his dad clean. Now that he's older, we kind of lost that connection. And when we talk, I always used to get on him, always telling him what you're doing wrong and getting on him about this and this and that. And it's funny, I watched that movie with Denzel Washington for the first time, The Fence. And I watched how he was going off on his son. So it kind of put me in perspective where he was a good dad to him. I think it was a great movie, but I think he lost touch with his son because he never wanted to be there as a friend. And I think at some point you have to. I know I'm going far and out with it, but just to answer the question, not to beat a dead horse, it's a thin line between that. I think we all should have somewhat of a friendship, but not just 100, where you forget that you're a parent. But I think it's good to be a friend sometimes, because I was called out with Dion too the other day about that. So I had to check myself, and I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I think it's a thin line. I don't think you have to be 100, a stern parent, and never be a friend. You just got to know how to manage it, when to manage it. And I'm still I'm learning that to this day. Hey, and they grown now, so it's
Yeah.
a little different when they grown as well.
Yeah. So he brought up some real good points. Like not follow, but I watch Deion Sanders a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because when I first was watching him, I was like, he's a little bit too friendly with his children. Like they be calling him dog. They don't say dad, they like dog or prime.
Right.
And it's at a different level than I ever seen, a parent. So then I was looking at something on YouTube, and this woman was cussing her son out like he was somebody on the street, calling him the N-word because he had a speed ticket for 120 miles per hour. So I'm like you said, there's a thin line as far as being a friend, and then it's like you're not even close to being a parent, because some of that, parent comes teaching, mentoring, and guiding. But it's something that I learned is that being as a parent, and I told my children this, is that the hardest job, in my opinion, is being a parent, because it's on a job. You're going to learn how to be a parent to the day you go in the grave, because there's always a new dynamic that you never experienced as a parent. So when they was children, and when I left, they were still real young. So that's how I saw them. And when I had them for the weekend or whatever, it was such a short time that I wasn't able to really befriend them the way I wanted to, because it was a short period of time. So basically, long story short, is like when I went out Saturday, I took, Keisha and TT out, and I just sat there and talked to them. And we had conversation, opposed to me, well, no, this is what you need to do, and always being that parent, and that kind of pushes them away. Because I think what they're saying is, when they said he want to be a friend, is we have to learn how to step out of being a parent and just speak to them as adults, because they're no longer children, they're adults. So we have to address them like an adult. So being part of that is being a friend. So we chopped it up, we talked, and we had good conversation, and not once did I talk to them like a parent, and they opened up. Like TT never really opened up. She was that same thing with Keisha, because I was being a friend more so than being their dad. So that's something I learned. I think that's what it is in my mind. Everybody might see it differently, but that's how I see what it means to being a friend with your children. So, yeah.
No, I mean, that's well put. I mean, you saying the same thing, that it was called to my attention, like I said, with Deanna. So we haven't had our talk yet. But yeah, so with the children, you're right. That's Deanna actually said that to me, where I'm an adult now, you can't keep talking to me like when we was younger. And I get that. So I totally understand that, but I do believe, as you said, you gotta friend them, and being a friend in a way to be able to let them be welcoming to talk about certain things. On that level as a friend, yeah, but the other friend where you can, I guess you could joke with them too, because that's not bad to have that understanding where you could joke with each other, but know when and when not to. So I think that's important to have that with your friends, because the same thing in a relationship. You don't want to have that kind of awkward relationship where you can't joke with each other and do silly things and be friends and understand each other. That's where I'm at with Felicia. So we learned each other. We had a good ride down to the coast, and we learned each other. And we're learning certain things. So like I told her, I said, this is what you got to be first, is be friends, so you could be able to be comfortable on how to talk to each other. Then when you progress to the next level, everything should fall in place. So I just believe friendship builds on the process, as far as STX, trust the process. So it's a process of being friends too. I think adversity is a quick and best way to learn who your real friends are. Because again, when shit happens, you're gonna know who's there, who's not. Oh, damn, that's messed up. What happened to you? Hopefully you make it out of it. Good luck. And teachers, everybody don't have to do that and help you, but A true person that's gonna be a friend, like I've been there, I understand what you're going through. Let me reach out. I'm gonna do what I can. It's not a lot, but it's what I can do to help you to get out of that situation. That to me, then I'm like, okay, that's a friend. Now I'm gonna keep this person close because I know I can depend on them. They can depend on me. We can grow as friends. Now, if you're just gonna kick it with me when times is good, and only time you want to talk is when you need something, and I'm gonna keep you as a soul. I'm only gonna associate with you when it's necessary for the both of us. So, I mean, I think that's important because we all need a true friend. I think that's important, but we gotta be cautious on who are friends, because like you said, again, repeating it, but some people are intent is not to be your friend, it's to get what they want to get out of it and then move around. So we gotta be real cautious on, just not to be friend of anybody because they so taking and they gravitate to you and you assume, oh, that's my friend. No.
Yeah. And it's also in the workplace too, because you can have somebody, employee, like if you're a supervisor, owner, or whatever the case is, and you're talking to them, and how some people have, because I'm talking to you, and we talk about certain things that we're friends. Right. And then the next thing you know, they coming up to you, hey, I need to borrow some money. Well, they just talking to you a certain type of, they talking to you a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? So that's, for me, that's why it's important to like definitely have a boundary or a drawn line as far as, okay, this is what friendship is. This is what an associate is. And like you said, anybody at work, if we're not hanging out, not even hanging out, because I hung out with some of my military dudes, and I didn't see them as friends. We hung out after work.
Right.
That's just what we did, because it was like a big family, so to speak. But I didn't see them as friends, because for me, my friendship is a high level. Like, you have to really, really, really be a hell of a person. Not saying that I'm better than anybody else, but that's just how high of a regard that I hold friendship. So I don't just run around, calling people my friend loosely. And this is another thing I want to touch on. I think you talked about it a little bit, as far as like if you was dating somebody and y'all stopped dating and you just continue to talk,
right? And
you say that that's my friend, but just like old girls, like, you don't call me no more. So you know what? we ain't gonna be friends no more. So that's not a true friend. That's somebody you used to date. So can someone you used to date truly be a friend? Or can you have to put them in associate? Like, you still talk to them and stuff, and they know everything about you, but do you have to, or should you deem them as an associate or as a true friend?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I would say yes and no, depending, meaning I have a lot of my exes, we still are, you put me on the spot, man. I'm thinking about it, like, that's damn, like, for real. When you said just because you can still communicate with them, does that mean that's your friend? Because I have a lot of exes that we communicate every now and then. It's not every day, how you doing, what you do today type thing. But if one see each other on Facebook, hey, how's it going? Or I seen you went so-and-so. To me, yeah, that's deemed as an associate. I think you fall back as an associate, but I do have some exes that we still consider each other friends because we can still talk to each other about things that's, current situation, who you with, without feeling biased towards each other, and just everyday life or whatever. And if I needed something, if I'm single, I think that makes a difference. I guess let me go backwards a little bit. If you're in a new relationship and you're dating, if you're in a new relationship and one of your exes is your friends, then that's where you can't interact with them as friends on that same level as if you were single, if that makes sense. Only for the fact that's going to cause conflict with your current. And again, some people is cool with their current date, talking to their exes. I've had exes that I've dated that they were still friends with their exes. As long as they weren't doing anything to make me feel like I had to be threatened, it didn't bother me, because I get it. Some people you date, you better friends than you are as exclusive with each other. So I do believe that some people you can just be straight platonic friends. It just didn't work. It didn't click as a relationship, and y'all just can relate as friends. Because I actually have a few like that. So I can say, yeah, you can be friends with your ex. Not all of them, no. Just the ones that, again, that you know that will be able to be there if you ever needed them, vice versa, without causing conflict with your current. I think is possible, but is it normal? I think a lot of people probably disagree, but like, no, that's not normal for that to happen. But I mean, it can if y'all all mature about it and you being transparent with your current and saying, look, this is somebody I dated, but we only friends now. And that's all it is. So it has to be like trust there, but it is possible. I think it is. But
All right, that's good stuff. So for me, I'm going to say in summary is that the main difference between friendship and an associate is basically, it lies in the depth of the personal relationship with or the connection with that individual person and the duration of time that you know that person. So that's what I'm going to leave it at.
Well, I'm going to leave it the way I started it. Basically, a friendship is echoing what you said, piggybacking. It's a time frame. I use a little different lingo, or I use slang, I guess, whatever you want to call it. I say, if you have receipts showing, meaning, again, if somebody been there when I had a car accident, or I lost my job, and you helped out emotionally, financially, whatever, and you still there 10 years later, to me, that's what a true friend is. It's somebody that goes through the hell and back with you without judging you or holding you on a high pedestal when everything's good. When you're doing bad, they bringing you in that, hey, you did this wrong, I'm gonna hold you accountable. That's a friend to me. Associate, clearly somebody that's no intentions, just associate with you, have a good rapport on a work level, in a bar or a club, whatever. Wherever you at, you can just interact. That's what, to me, associate is. Somebody you literally just associate with.
Okay. All right, so that sounds good. So we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank those that watched. And again, if you aren't able to watch us on Wednesday, we're on Spotify. The link is on the page underneath the logo. You can listen to us anytime. So I want to say it's no excuse. We got pretty great content. So, if you don't want to see these beautiful faces, you can listen to these beautiful voices. So on that note, your thoughts becomes a belief and your belief becomes your reality.
STS, guys, stay focused, trust your process, stay